There's a moment that keeps happening to you in different rooms with different people. You say your age, they pause, their eyebrows lift. They look at you again, almost like they're recalibrating. How? You don't look it. You look so much younger. They mean it as a compliment and you smile, laugh it off, say something like good lighting, or it's the genes, or I drink lots of water. But privately, you've wondered, because you know it's not just the products you use. You know it's not that you've never cried or broken or aged. You've seen hard things. Your heart has been through more seasons than your face gives away. So why do you still look younger than your story? Carl Jung would say the answer is deeper than surface routine. It has to do with archetypes, universal patterns of energy, and the way your soul relates to them. Your timeless energy, that strange youthfulness people keep pointing out, is not an accident. It's a reflection of how your inner world is arranged. Before we go deeper into that, pause with me for a second. If you've ever heard, "You look young for your age," and secretly wondered if there's a spiritual, psychological reason behind that, type the word timeless in the comments. Just that one word. You don't have to explain anything. You're simply acknowledging to yourself, I'm open to the idea that the way I age has something to do with my soul, not just my skincare. And if messages like this tend to find you exactly when you need them, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future reflections that help you name what you've always felt but never had language for. At the end of this video, there'll be a playlist on the end screen. Save it, and when you're about to sleep tonight, let it run softly in the background. Your body will rest, but your subconscious will keep listening, keep integrating, keep aligning your inner world with the kind of energy you want to live from. Now, let's talk about why you look young from a Jungian perspective, because this isn't just about looking younger. It's about understanding what in you is staying timeless and how to honor it. You've probably realized by now that youthfulness is not just about having a smooth face. You've seen people with perfect skin and lifeless eyes. You've seen people who have done everything right on the outside and still feel dull, bitter, worn out. And then there are the others, the ones whose features show time, maybe even wrinkles and softness and gray, but their presence feels strangely fresh. You feel something ageless moving through them. Jung would say what you're seeing is the self, your deeper spiritual center, shining through the persona, the mask. Most people become more and more identified with their mask as they age. I'm the mother. I'm the wife. I'm the professional. I'm the responsible one. Responsibilities accumulate. Masks harden. Decoration increases. Essence gets buried. But some people, maybe you, start moving the other way. As the years pass, you begin subtracting instead of adding, less pretending, less performing, less playing roles that never fit. And as the persona cracks, your real energy begins to leak through. That energy is what people feel when they say, "You look so young." They're picking up on the timeless self beneath the stories. It's not that time hasn't touched you. It's that your soul has not agreed to become a fossil. Jung talked about archetypes as living patterns that move through us. The child, the mother, the lover, the sage, the hero, the healer, the trickster, and so on. Most people get stuck in one. You, whether you realize it or not, have kept more of them alive. Think about your inner child for a moment. Most of us don't realize we've exiled her. She loved to play, to imagine, to ask questions, to follow curiosity. She laughed loudly, cried openly, felt everything intensely. Then slowly, she learned, you're too sensitive. Don't be silly, be realistic, grow up. And bit by bit, she got pushed into a psychic attic. But in you, she never fully died. Maybe you still laugh too hard sometimes. Maybe you still get excited over small things that other people dismiss. Maybe you still talk to yourself in the grocery store or sing in the car or feel awe at a sky most people don't even notice. Maybe you still love learning, reading, studying, dreaming about what could be, even at your age. Other people might call that immaturity. Jung would call that archetypal child energy, the part of the psyche that stays connected to wonder. When this energy isn't repressed, it shows on the face, not as naivety, but as brightness. You've seen it, that light in the eyes that says, "I'm still curious," that softness around the mouth that says, "I'm still willing to be moved." Timeless energy has a lot to do with that, a living inner child who wasn't completely sacrificed on the altar of being an adult. If this is already landing somewhere inside you, if you can feel that you've secretly protected parts of your childlike spirit, take a second and like this video and subscribe if you haven't yet, so we can keep exploring these things together. Now, the archetypal child isn't the only one at work. There's also your inner lover, the part of you that still feels beauty deeply. Women whose energy stays young are usually women whose capacity to love didn't harden into cynicism. They may be less naive, they may be more discerning, but they didn't let betrayal, disappointment, or heartbreak close their hearts completely. Jung would say they're still in relationship with the anima, the feminine principle of feeling, intuition, connection. They can still see beauty in small things. They still appreciate music, art, creation, quiet moments, meaningful conversation. They still let themselves be touched by kindness, by stories, by other people's souls. When the lover archetype is alive in you, your face doesn't freeze into permanent judgment. Yes, you've seen enough to be skeptical, but you also choose again and again not to live as pure suspicion. Suspicion lines the face in a particular way. So does love. Love, not just romantic love, but love as an orientation to life, keeps something in you fluid. You forgive, not because you're weak, but because you refuse to carry hatred like a poison. You let people go, but you don't let one person's damage define everyone. That decision, to keep loving wisely instead of shutting down for good, is part of why your energy still feels young. Now, let's talk about shadow, because timelessness is not about being all light. Women whose energy feels timeless are not women who never got angry, never felt jealousy, never knew darkness. If anything, they've probably gone deeper into their shadow than most. Jung's great insight was that what we repress doesn't disappear. It just sinks into the unconscious and shows up as symptoms. The women whose faces harden over time are often women whose hearts have had to hold too many unspoken feelings. Unprocessed bitterness, unspoken resentment, unacknowledged grief. All of that becomes a weight. You can almost see it in the way someone holds their jaw, their eyes, their shoulders. You, for whatever reason, started to turn toward your shadow instead of endlessly running from it. Maybe it happened after a breakdown, a breakup, a burnout. Maybe you reached a point where your body simply refused to keep carrying everything in silence, so you started naming things. I am angry. I am hurt. I am jealous here. I am disappointed. You confessed it, even if only to yourself, to a journal, to God, to a therapist, to one safe person. And each time you did that, something softened. It doesn't mean you became perfect. It doesn't mean you never fall back into old patterns. It means you stopped asking your face, your body, your nervous system to store secrets you weren't willing to acknowledge. That honesty, shadow work honesty, lightens a person over time. It doesn't erase lines, but it changes the energy behind them. A line formed from a life of suppression feels different than a line formed from a life where feelings have been given somewhere to go. The first one hardens, the second one ripens. Timeless energy has more to do with ripening than freezing. You look young not because nothing has happened to you, but because what has happened to you is being metabolized, not just hoarded. Let's pause in the middle here. If as you're listening, you can feel the truth of this, that your youthfulness might be less about luck and more about all the inner honest work you've done, take a moment to tap like, make sure you're subscribed, and if you haven't yet, comment timeless below. So future you can come back and remember, this was the day I realized there's meaning in the way I carry time. Now let's go even deeper. Archetypal meaning and resistance to being possessed by time. In Jung's view, archetypes are energies that can either move through you or take you over. When you're possessed by the archetype of the crone too early, for example, you might become prematurely bitter. When you're possessed by the hero, you might burn yourself out trying to save everyone. Timeless energy often indicates that you haven't been possessed by one archetype exclusively. You've let several of them breathe through you across different seasons. There were times you allowed yourself to be the child, curious, playful. Times you stepped into the warrior or hero, taking bold action, protecting yourself, standing up. Times you let the healer move through you, tending to others, holding space. Times you allowed the sage, your inner wise one, to speak, say no, redirect your path. You didn't get frozen as any one of these. That movement keeps something in you flexible. Rigidity makes people feel old. Flexibility, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, keeps people feeling young. You might notice this in yourself. You're willing to learn new things. You're willing to update your opinions. You're willing to say, I was wrong. You're willing to change routes, apologize, start over, experiment, even if it scares you. Many people your age decided long ago, this is just who I am, and locked the door. You, even if you sometimes say that, seem to leave a window open. Life can still reach you. New experiences can still shape you. Spirit can still whisper new assignments, and something in you says, okay, I'll try. That openness is archetypal flexibility. It says, I am more than any one role. That more than is part of why your energy doesn't match the number on your ID. Now there's another, more mysterious layer. Projection and mirroring. When people tell you you look young, they are also unconsciously telling you something about their relationship to their own soul. Your presence wakes something up in them. Maybe it confronts the part of them that feels older than they are, tired, resigned, shut down. Maybe it reminds them of a time when they were more alive. Maybe it stirs envy, awe, curiosity, or even discomfort. On an archetypal level, you're carrying an image they have about what timeless feels like. You become, briefly, a mirror of their own lost or repressed youthfulness. This is important to understand because it helps you carry those comments with humility instead of pressure. Your timeless energy is not just about you. It's also about how other people's souls are using you as a symbol in that moment. Jung would say, do not identify with the projection. Yes, accept the compliment. Yes, receive the kindness. But remember, you are not obligated to perform youngness for anyone. You are not required to never age, never change, never have bad days because you've become the one who always looks young. Timeless energy is a gift, not a job. And if you cling to it out of fear, if you start panicking at every new line, every change, every sign of aging because you're terrified of losing this identity, you'll start attacking the very inner conditions that created it in the first place. Your energy will tighten, fear will replace openness. You'll start living as an image again, instead of a being. That's how archetypes turn into prisons. So the paradox is this: you stay timeless not by worshipping youth, but by staying faithful to your own process. By continuing to do exactly what you've been doing, consciously or unconsciously. Allowing multiple archetypes to live in you, letting your shadow speak, keeping your childlike wonder on a small but real altar in your life, choosing love over permanent bitterness, updating your story as you learn more instead of repeating old scripts forever. Your face, your aura, your presence will reflect that. Near the end, we have to talk about one more crucial thing. The difference between you look young and you feel timeless. You look young is their language. Timeless is what your soul knows. Timelessness isn't frozen at 25. Timelessness is when your energy feels current with your soul, no matter your age. It's when your outer life more or less matches your inner truth. Not perfectly, not without struggle, but enough that you're not living a double life inside your own skin. Every time you move closer to that alignment, you feel lighter. You stop dragging decades of self-betrayal behind you. You stop living as the ghost of your own past. You stop telling yourself the same 3 painful stories every single day. You become more present. Present women look different. Even in silence, something in them says, "I'm here." Not trapped in what happened 10 years ago. Not only anxious about 10 years from now. Here. That presence is what people keep clumsily trying to name when they say, "You look so young." They're feeling that your attention, your heart, your awareness, your energy is not somewhere else. It's inhabiting your life now. If you've ever had someone tell you that and you didn't know what to do with it, maybe you can let it land differently next time. Not as pressure, but as a gentle confirmation. Something in me is living honestly enough that my energy feels lighter than my years. If you're still here, let me speak directly to you. You who has been through enough pain to justify being hard, but chose softness anyway. You who could have closed permanently, but kept a small part of your heart open to miracles, to change, to newness. You who sometimes looks in the mirror and worries about the lines, the tired eyes, the things that don't look like they did at 20. And yet, strangers and friends keep telling you, you look young. What they're seeing is your work. The quiet nights you spent crying and still chose to forgive. The mornings you showed up for your life even when you felt broken. The boundaries you set that cost you relationships but returned you to yourself. The endless inner conversations where you challenged your own self-hatred and chose a kinder narrative. It all shows, not always in a selfie, but in the way your energy lands in a room. You are not accidentally timeless. You are not accidentally carrying this rare quality. You've been participating in it for years by the way you've chosen to relate to your own soul. If some part of you, even now, is quietly committing, "I want to keep aging this way," deep, real, but not bitter, timeless, type timeless in the comments if you haven't already. Let it be a small anchor you can come back to. And if this spoke to your heart, please like this video, subscribe to the channel and tap the notification bell so you don't miss the next time your soul needs to hear something like this. When you're about to sleep tonight, that's when the old voices usually try to creep in. You're getting older. You're running out of time. Any glow you have now will fade. Instead of letting them dictate the script, give your subconscious a different story to fall asleep to. The playlist is at the end of this video. It will pop up on the end screen. Hit play on that playlist and let it run softly in the background as you drift off. Your body will rest. But your subconscious will keep listening, keep loosening its grip on fear-based aging, keep strengthening the parts of you that know your true beauty has always been more about archetypal aliveness than external perfection. Save the playlist, fall asleep with it, and let these messages sink from your mind into your soul. Until one day someone says again, "You look so young, it doesn't make sense." And instead of brushing it off or secretly panicking about how long it will last, you smile to yourself, knowing the real secret is not what they think. Your energy is timeless because your soul refused to stop living.